What happens, happens.
We can also talk about the fallout of our meeting a little bit, give kind of a little bit of an update.
Ooh,
Yes, we
let's
set
talk
off
about
a
fallout.
thermonuclear bomb.
Hot stuff.
Very hot and very aggressive, wavy stuff happening.
Ooh.
Disrupting.
Really, really wiggly everything
Yes.
on a very small scale.
Riding these aggressive waves to our demise as a civilization.
My waves are bigger than your waves.
Let's not make this a wave measuring competition. No.
Big wave is gross.
Oh, that was a big wave.
Yeah.
You look. I'm at an angle where I can't see the waves.
Well, you.
Or a digital representation of the waves. Although I've seen
That was a
enough
good
of
wave.
waves over the last couple.
I think my
years,
waves are
so
the
I'm
best,
fine.
though.
I mean, different sound profiles and whatnot.
Timbres and intonations.
Yep.
Are you saying my timbre is different than yours?
I wish.
Yes.
Isn't that like the Trade Federation guy from episode 2?
Watt Tambor.
Yep.
He's the guy that has like the dial that makes
Yeah,
him
so
go
it's
into
kind of funny
dubstep.
that that's his name because he's got these goofy sound things he uses to talk.
Turns out sometimes they aren't that creative with Star Wars names. They named the big, serious, bad General Grievous, and stuff like. So it's like it's never been particularly deep.
No.
There's a depth to it in like some of the nuance of the story, but like we're gonna name this character a thing that kind of just describes him.
Yep.
Well, wasn't there one character who was like
Newt Gunray.
evil?
There
Or,
were
like-
several characters that were evil.
No, I mean like his
Sidious?
name was evil.
Darth Sidious.
No.
Moralo Evol
Oh,
That is-
from the Clone Wars.
there was also
That's it.
Savage Opress.
Yep.
Who was oppressively savage.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bet you never saw that coming.
that evil morals or whatever guy.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
He was
From where Obi-Wan goes undercover
annoying.
yeah.
to prevent Palpatine from getting assassinated, which he should have just gone along with in hindsight.
In hindsight.
And point is that they don't get very creative. They took the most jarring character and named him Jar Jar.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of our conversation in the group chat earlier today, which
Yeah, that was a good conversation.
I posted a Bionicles meme, knowing very little
that
about
one.
Bionicles, not knowing that 2 of the men in the chat are avid Bionicles fans.
I am aware that there is deep lore to the Bionicles.
There's
I
very
just-
deep lore.
I just kind of missed out on it in 2002. I did get
I
the
can
original.
lend you the comics.
Ooh, we should do an episode on that someday. The
Hey.
Bionicle comics.
Wow.
Actually, I'm missing a few of the original series, so I'd have to
Oh,
find
no.
those. But you might find them at Paradox. I don't know.
I feel like the early 2000s were good for franchises with deep lore because you had Halo, has pretty deep lore, and then Bionicles. What else is there? I mean,
Twilight.
well, that wasn't
What?
that wasn't early 2000s. That was like 20 teens.
I feel like the books came out significantly earlier.
Well, sure.
And it,
Um,
Potter.
I did get the original Kopaka, however they pronounce the white guy,
The white
the
guy.
snow guy,
oh, okay.
with the
Oh,
snow man.
Cracking open an
from,
ice cold one
Hunger
with
Games.
the beers.
Yes, that guy.
what?
President Snow.
Oh, right. Cracking open an ice cold
Have
one
you guys
with the
done
boys.
Hunger Games on this podcast?
We have not done
have
the
not.
Hangry Gamet.
I could probably do that one. Not right now,
No,
but I did read it.
I read all 3 books. Enjoyed the first one.
I
I've
enjoyed the
watched
first and the second, and the,
The
third
first
one
2
was
movies.
terrible.
I
Well,
stopped
book
liking the
sucks.
main character.
Why don't
after
we
the
just
first
talk about that?
No,
Why not?
because I don't remember everything.
Right, but you've seen it. I've seen the first movie, and Nathan's read all the books.
And I've
right,
read all
but
the
it's
books.
but there's an element of having it in my brain to think about. And I haven't thought about it in a while.
Fresh.
That's why we rewatched Oh Brother.
I suppose.
It's like I could
Yeah.
tell you what happens, but like I wouldn't appreciate.
I'll put
all
it on the list.
The details. Sure.
It's going on the list. I think we brought it up at one point, but we weren't sure if we could dive into it enough. But at this point, we just need stuff to freaking talk about, you know?
We do. No, I do think the first Hunger Games had like the most interesting things to say about media and how things are presented and information and stuff like that. But the rest of them kind of became a little soap opera-y with like generic teenage rebel stuff going on in the background that was common.
I mean, just the YAF trend is pretty cut and dried. Copy and paste plots.
Right, because that one is barely indistinguishable from Divergent, which is not that much different from Maze Runner, which is not that much different from Ender's Game. It's just not Ender's Game.
Well,
I meant the other game one, Ready Player One.
Yeah,
there's just some like the vibe of just we're teenage rebels and we're
the old people
young
are oppressing
people.
all of us.
Old people are oppressive.
I'm laughing at what James audibly wrote on the computer.
With his keyboard, definitely audibly wrote.
Don't tell him what it is.
No. Internal documents, not for distribution.
Not. Hey, speaking of internal documents, you should listen to this.
What?
I want you to listen to this.
What are you playing?
I'm going to put it in there.
Are you ASMRing on my Good and Holy podcast? See, it sounds like
I made it myself.
it sounds like you dropped your phone in the water.
Nope. Close to it. I was boiling noodles.
So you recorded.
And I recorded the boiling of the noodles because like this sounds funny. I should record it for James.
What is wrong with you?
And put it on the podcast.
I'm just going to like bleep the entire thing. Nobody deserves to hear
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, that was good.
that. Oh man.
We don't have the right kind of microphones to have the
God.
greatest effect for it. Like those ones that are shaped like a head and the microphones are
Like
in the
the
ears.
binaural. Yeah.
There was my first exposure to that kind of a headphone or recording scenario was the bonus features for the Monsters Inc. DVD that we had.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like, they were showing off all of their Foley stuff and all of how they were doing the sound capture and all the behind the scenes stuff. And one of the things they did was like, we recorded things for the surround sound using binaural headphones. And so there was this little bonus feature thing where the John Goodman and
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal just ran around the thing saying, "Hey, I'm in your left ear."
Binaural microphones seem really cool, but then when you realize it, like you can recreate a similar effect just by having two microphones facing away from each other on a left and right track, and you have the same effect.
Yeah.
Duh.
Obviously.
Well, that's how they used to record things back on the days of tape. They would purposefully record things in left and right so that you could you could just shut off the right or the left if you just wanted to listen to a certain part of the music.
You know what's more like
I thought it was just to make a more engaging headphone
similarly annoying
experience
to me as
that too.
ASMR is, but not quite on the same level because that's deep burning passion within. But is when ads, aren't I so clever ads?
Like hey, don't touch that skip button.
Right. Well, there's this one where it's like, hey, if you don't want to listen to an ad, we're going to play a jingle. So take out your right earphone. But joke's on them. I can only listen with one earphone in at work. So I'm still stuck listening to the entire ad. But it set it up so on like the one channel is like a little jingle. And they're like, okay, you can put your other headphone in because the ad's over. It's like, screw you. The jingle is still part of the ad. I know how this crap works. It's like, oh, aren't we so clever? No, you're not. See, maybe that's what we should do in this podcast is like fill out James's list of slappable offenses.
The top 10 things James can slap you for. Number 4
top
will
10.
shock you.
Here we go. What's number 10? So is that number 10 or?
I'd have to like compile the list and then rank them, which some things I feel like it'd have to be more like a penal code because
Ew.
well, no. Where it's like things are different levels, like you have your misdemeanors and felonies and like major crimes. And so like proportionate number of like full strength slaps to the face as like proportionate punishments, and just kind of have, you know, laws that or slappable offenses that fit into those categories by order of severity. That's kind of how I would do it. That's what I've had this in my brain for like years at this point. I just need to sit down and write it.
Okay, just write it down right now on the computer.
It's like
do it.
No.
Do it now.
No. It's something I think I should compile and then present at a later date.
Well, pause the podcast. Quick. Pause it now.
No.
You should like do a full like video where you're in a suit and like tie and you have the papers at like a podium. And you're like,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm here declaring the new
my
law
fellow
of the United
Americans.
States.
Pause. Okay,
No.
you have a nice big wave there for you to pause at. You can just pause right there. See? Do you see it?
He says audibly pointing at the waveforms in Audacity.
Should, I mean,
Pause it.
we don't really have a topic today, but we're the Palladian Papists.
Pause it.
I'm James.
I'm Nathan.
Pause it. I'm John. Look, I gave you another one.
You're just going to be blowing out your own ears when you listen back to this. Later.
Yep, I am.
And
But
your
it's
wife.
okay. Well, I'll tell her to not listen to it.
Have you ever seen like the meme where the husband has like headphones over the pregnant wife's belly and he's like, she thinks I'm playing Mozart and it's something else entirely?
Yeah, yep.
Do that with the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the kid's going to hear enough of our voices in utero that it'll probably have a similar effect.
Which is to announce on the podcast that, hey,
Oh, right, yeah.
that's congratulations, you twos.
Oh, are we putting that on the podcast
Are
now?
we?
I think that's the first thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, well, it's too late now.
Well, I mean, I can edit this out.
The two have become 3, but there's still 2.
So you're sticking with it? We're just going to leave it in?
Let me ask my wife.
Okay.
Hey,
If
Faith,
it's
is this
still
okay?
in now, if there wasn't a cut, then she said, "Oh, it's okay."
Okay, we'll just move on.
Moving on.
We don't really have a topic for this episode because Riley is gone, and
We called John last minute and we're like,
Nobody
hey,
had
what
a
movies have we
topic.
all seen or things have we all done that we can all talk about with reasonable clarity? And there was none.
so I guess because I need to stick to form, this will be the premiere of the SALTCAST bumper, everyone.
Ooh, are we doing a full SALTCAST?
way.
We can. I think we should find something to rant about and christen the SALTCAST.
Okay.
SALTCAST warning. SALTCAST warning. SALTCAST warning. SALTCAST warning.
This is a big bummer for me.
Like, this
Well-
bumper has been sitting since I made all of the bumpers like a year and a half
It is
ago.
by far the best of the bumpers.
Yes. So what are we going to rant about today, boys?
Oh no. Okay. Well, we can easily rant about the.
You've got your slappable offenses.
You know what? Let's talk about Marvel Phase 4.
No, I don't know anything about that.
You haven't seen it?
No.
I mean, I've got other M locked and loaded at all times.
I can always talk
something to
about
rant
how
about?
much.
That's something to yes.
But like I'm like the rant guy here.
You are the rant guy, but I have things I can rant about too. You know.
True.
Well,
But
I
what do you
can
wanna
rant about Disney Star Wars all day.
But we did an episode on that.
We can
No.
Like we talked about the
see.
sequel trilogy
We touched on it in passing because why bother?
with the 10-foot stick.
Exactly.
But since then, one
what if
kind of mess and a mediocre show have happened.
I have an idea?
What?
What if we each picked our own thing to rant about, and we're given like 15 minutes? No, not even 10 minutes
Okay.
to rant about it, and
Sure.
then we take turns and we switch off.
All right. So I guess let's set the timer.
Okay, quick, I'm pulling up a timer.
This is a new format, folks. We're experimenting right now.
Let's get the timer.
We had like a whole business meeting this last weekend about how we can improve the podcast.
And we never once mentioned the SALTCast.
But here it is, folks.
we
looking at ways to develop the format a little bit and some additions to content. Stay tuned.
Timer 10 minutes.
That's 1 minute. Okay, there we go.
10 minutes.
There we
okay,
go.
who's
All
going
right.
first?
Let's give Nathan another M. He seems the most ready to go.
I mean, I've
All
got
right,
that
10
locked
minutes.
and loaded.
Ready to start?
And Nathan rant.
Okay, so Metroid Other M came out in 2010 for the Nintendo Wii. It takes place between the events of Super and Fusion, two decent games in the series, Super being my favorite. It picks up directly after the events of Super, where at the end of that game, there's the whole thing where you fight the Mother Brain, but then Mother Brain turns into Mother Dinosaur, and she shoots a beam at you, and you get all, oh no, can't do anything. And then, like, Baby Metroid from your friend from Metroid 2, who got big now, and is also still your friend because you're kind of his mom, he grabs...
Listen to our Metroid's Mom episode if you want to recap on
or
this.
That one
just
was
check the
good.
wiki. Anyway, so the baby... The baby grabs Mother Brain's face, drains her energy, and then transfers the energy back to Samus. And she wakes up all like, "Oh, I'm alive again. Thank you, baby." But then baby gets blasted by Mother Brain Rainbow Beam,
Brought to you by Monster Energy Drink.
and so then she blows up Mother Brain and goes off onto some recovery spaceship, and it's all good, all fine. Mm-hmm. The only thing is the baby's dead, so Samus is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not the baby.
Not the baby. So, one obnoxious tutorial thing later, and then she's flying away in her spaceship, being sad because the baby is dead.
The baby.
She lands. She gets a distress signal. The distress signal? The kind of distress signal it is, it's called a baby's cry because it's supposed to draw attention to.
Oh, no.
Because that's what else a distress signal supposed to do. Anyway, so she flies to get the bottle ship, lands on the bottle ship, and meets.
Is this a real Nintendo game?
It is very much a real Nintendo game.
Oh, no.
So she lands on the bottle ship and finds her old CO from when she was in the army, Adam Malkovich, who is apparently a brilliant, amazing strategist
And Russian.
and a very, very cool guy and very, very not annoying. And she's like, "Hey, Daddy, Adam, I'm here to help. What's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, we got a stress signal from this place, and we got to find survivors and stuff." She's like, "Okay, can we work with you, Adam?" And he's like, "Okay, but you got to turn off all of your weapons and follow my commands very strictly. You are not authorized to use any of your things.
That sounds awfully specific.
You are not." Write down so your missiles, your higher beams, your air conditioning in your suit.
No.
Shut it all down. And so she's like, yes, Daddy. Yes, sir. And so she's like, "Oh, but I'm still sad because the baby is dead. So anyway, I'm gonna go explore."
And I have no guns, and my suit is feeling very warm.
Anyway, I'm going to explore this ship, but only the doors that Adam opens for me because I'm an obedient little soldier girl. As you explore, you find out that, this is a cloning facility making bioweapons.
Okay, I thought this was going a very different direction. Continue.
And this cloning facility full of bioweapons is full of creatures from the planet Zebes, the Super Metroid planet.
Zebus.
Zebus Amogus.
So she explores for a bit, and Adam's like, "Okay, you can use this now." And she I can shoot the ice beam. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you find one of your compadres dead. It's like, "Oh no, somebody has killed him. There is an imposter Amogus. There's someone here who was sent to wipe everybody out. I'm going to call him the leader because that is the lamest name I could come up with." There's also a tiny little fluffy white bird. Like a little tiny fluffy white bird who shows up. She's like, "Hey, look, I'm going to point out and monologue about how that little bird makes me feel."
Does that have any relevance to anything that happens?
Anyway, so the next place Samus goes is later Samus goes to like the hot area because there's a hot area, and you walk into the hot area and take damage, but you take damage and you go through the hot area because you don't have your air conditioning on in your suit because
reasons.
Adam told you to turn it off, and you're not turning it on because that would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, don't use that air conditioning.
So you explore the lava place until you climb a tall volcano thing and are knee-deep in lava, about to fight a lava creature, and Adam calls on the radio, is like, oh, hey, Samus, you might want to turn the AC back on in your suit. You might burn up. And I'm like, yes, think! Okay, so after more exploring, you find one of the survivors. Her name is... She calls herself Madeline Bergman. She was the head scientist of the weapons thing. It's like, oh, making weapons out of living things is not a cool thing. So I'm all scared and sad because everyone's trying to kill me. And Samus like, don't worry, I'm not trying to kill you. And then you have a fight with a guy in a forklift because it's the deleter in a forklift.
Andrew's worst nightmare.
Right. But you blow up the forklift, but the deleter escapes. Oh, man. Not before killing somebody else. There's also an encounter where you find like the control room, and you go into the control room, or the control room area, and then like you get attacked by a giant lizard creature with like white down feather fur on its back.
Because the reptilians are controlling everything.
Well, it's a
the
big
space Pope reptilian.
So you got a purple reptile trying to eat you, and you fight it off, and it flies away, and she's like, oh, that was freaky. Oh, look, there's the empty husk of the tiny white bird that was unimportant. Anyway. So she does some more exploring, and there's some more, like, fake mystery about, like, oh, who's the deleter? It's not that soldier whose name I totally remember.
Plot twist.
He died.
It was the bird.
Want to know the actual plot twist about the bird?
What?
Eventually, you go into like the depths of the fire area because there's like a big thing trying to blow up the reactor, and down from a hole in the ceiling that you blow open with your finally allowed missiles is Ridley. Because that's what the creature was evolving into. You want to know how Samus responds to seeing Ridley for the first time? Well, after killing him on Zebes?
The pizza is aggressive.
She has a mental breakdown where she reduces visually into a small child.
What?
What? What do you mean, what? This makes perfect sense.
This
What?
is-
Do
this
you
is-
mean to tell me you have not read the 2004 Zero Mission manga tie-in that was only released in Japan? And where it clearly explains the context for why Samus would have a mental breakdown at seeing Ridley?
This is approaching Neon Genesis levels of reasoning here.
Oh, it's worse.
You have about...
I've got 2 minutes
2
left,
minutes.
and I'm not halfway
I
done.
can't even start ranting.
Better
You're
get
just
to
telling us what
ranting.
happens.
Anyway, so after you fight Ridley, after finally gaining your composure and some other guy, air quotes, dying because he doesn't actually die at the end. It was dumb. You find out that there's a secret sector where they're breeding Metroids. It's like, oh no, Metroids are the bad thing that we want to not have exist anymore because they're a really powerful weapon in the wrong hands. So you're going down to the Sector 0, and you come across a baby Metroid, and she's like, oh, the baby, just like the other baby. But also, I'm going to shoot this now, but then you don't shoot it because somebody shoots you in the back. And her suit malfunctions and gets all glitchy, and she's all like, "Oh no, I'm weak and helpless. Help me!" And and then the guy who shot you in the back shoots the baby Metroid with an ice gun, and it freezes and dies.
Why would he prevent her from?
It's Adam.
Oh.
And Adam is like, and she's like, "Why did you shoot me?" It's like, because I had to take away your agency for this scene. To make me look more heroic by comparison, when I go and explode myself in Sector 0 so that all the Metroids die. Why do you need to do that? Because they can't be frozen. But you just froze. They can't be frozen. But what about you? They can't be frozen, so I'm going to blow them up. Bye. She's like, but, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, so you go to...
50 seconds.
You go to the final area, and you're like, hey, you find another survivor, and she's like, "Hi, my name's Madeline Bergman. I thought I already met you." No, I'm actually that's her name is Melissa Bergman. She is the android with an AI patterned after Mother Brain we're trying to use to control the Metroids. But I was nice to her and treated her like I'm her mom, and she was my little baby girl. And so we are. She went crazy when she was trying to be taken away, and now she's going to try and destroy the entire galactic civilization. And she's like, "Oh, this was not part of the plot earlier. What about the guy that was trying to kill everybody?" What do you mean? He doesn't matter. No, the first half of this entire game we were talking about trying to stop the deleter. Who's that? We don't care about that. We care about this now. We care about mommy issues. Oh, that's
Time's up.
Time's up.
Did you okay, I will let you have 5 minutes to rant, but you gotta rant.
Anyway, so I have been. So there's an anticlimax where you just aim your gun at the AI lady and she gets shot by other people who show up and are like, "Hi, we're the military. We don't like you."
So Samus, Samus is just like, okay, you don't get to do anything in this story.
Exactly. She is a passive person, barely or wrong. She's really passive.
Which is
barely along for the ride.
Which is like a interesting choice for a video game where you're supposed to play as the main character.
Here's the other thing. She does not shut the expletive up. She is constantly internally monologuing.
She like monologues the entire...
constant internal monologues. Like,
what is this game?
It is awful, and it is nothing like why I play Metroid. And
Samus has an internal monologue?
Constantly. Everything she looks at, when you could just... She looks at the bird, and she's like, "Oh, look at that creature who is taking advantage of the things that I do."
See... Every now and again, okay, so my limited impression of like Japanese artistic expression in media is like sometimes you have something that's just like brilliant, like your I don't know, like your Full Metal Alchemist or your like Studio Ghibli movies, and then you'll just have something that just sounds like somebody just started talking to themselves in a bus and just never stopped. And like every time somebody checks in to see if it's making any sense at all, it's just like completely incoherent.
So here's the other part of it, right? The story is bad, to put it nicely.
Uh-huh.
How does it play, though? It's a video game, right? It is a 3D action platformy type of game that you play with a sideways Wiimote. It is one thing to play like a 2D platformer with a sideways Wiimote, but you're playing a 3D game by the guys who made the Ninja Gaiden reboot with 3 buttons and a D-pad.
Oh.
That is fewer games than Super Metroid or the Game Boy Advance Metroid games got. And it's a Wii game, so motion controls.
Oh, no.
So you can't
Bomb bowling.
You can't shoot missiles normally. You just mash button 1 to like fire your gun. You have to point the remote at the screen and charge to
and
shoot
this is like
missiles.
side scroller?
And then it goes first. No, it's like third person kind of over the shouldery thing.
Oh, that's really annoying.
You're telling me. And I was going to say something else about motion control. Oh, there are these bits where, okay. So one thing I love about the Metroid series is the like storytelling through the environment, right? Where you'll be in an area, it's like, oh, the background kind of tells a story of what this used to be or where we are. This game feels like a demonic game of telephone somebody played. Where the guy at the end was like, oh, telling story through the environment? Okay, we'll have segments where we lock you in a first-person position, and you have to point the Wii remote at the screen to scan the screen, but there are like 3 pixels that are relevant, and so we gotta wait till you scroll over those 3 pixels and press the button before we continue the cutscene. Where it's like, you're breaking up the cutscene, which is already breaking up the gameplay, to give me gameplay that is not interesting. It is a, where is Waldo? But Waldo is 3 green pixels on green grass.
My head hurts.
It's dumb.
Why push a button when you can shake a stick?
Well, you are aiming with the with the Wii remote.
Which,
already.
you know, as we know from such classics as Call of Duty World at War for the Wii, that aiming first person is brilliant on a Wiimote.
That is just scraping the surface of why it's bad. It's pretentious. It requires knowledge of things for things to begin to make sense, let alone be good. it doesn't know, like, in like
1 minute.
In Fusion, right? When you nickname your computer Adam, when it turns out it's actually Adam, she talks about Adam like he's this great war hero and this great man she looks up to. He's an abusive stepdad in this game, and it's not cool. And people are like, and I've heard that like, oh, that's just the English translation because the director, who only speaks Japanese, decided he had to be a control freak and direct the English voice actors. And so it's like, maybe it was just the translation. You retranslate the story, it's less bad. Yeah, but less bad doesn't mean good. It's still an unfocused mess that tries to do everything and nothing.
10 seconds.
Anyway, there you go. Play it. It's a great game. I love it. 10
No.
out of 10.
Wow.
There you go. There's my other M rant.
Okay.
I had that one
You got
loaded.
5 extra seconds for that. So
Well, you gave me 5 extra minutes.
minutes. Sorry, not seconds. Got 5 extra
So
minutes.
what do you guys want to rant about? Because
Who's
I'm
going
feeling.
next?
I'm feeling
I haven't
This
figured.
time you get 10 minutes.
I haven't figured out something yet, so I'll let
All
you
right,
go next.
I'll go next.
What are you ranting about?
Here,
Jim?
you run the
I'll be the
timer.
moderator. Actually, if you
Okay.
want to turn on the TV, which you can audibly see, I can put the timer up on there, so it's
Ooh,
Easier
the
to-
timer on the Audible TV.
yeah.
Button. Did I push the button?
He's
It's on the
pushing
bottom right.
buttons. He's pushing the buttons. He's plugging the things
bottom
in.
There it
He's
is.
turning that on. Now there's a timer.
Oh, that freaking.
Nope.
Hold
no,
on.
there isn't. Hang on. Oh, there's the timer on the big
Timer?
screen. Make it big. Make it really big. Oh yeah, that's a big timer.
Audibly setting the timer.
Make it 10, not
Oh,
15.
freaking! How do I change this? This is.
I think you have to make a new timer.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Plus,
Right click.
bottom right.
Oh, okay.
Aha.
Do
Okay.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
All right. I'm not going to give you any synopsis of anything. I'm just going to rant.
Well, I had to give the synopsis to
Okay, time
properly
starting.
rant.
Okay, it's my turn.
I'll reset. Well, okay.
Okay.
Okay, starting now.
Okay. I'm going to rant about the Star Wars
Sequel?
sequel trilogy by Disney.
Yep.
Gosh, I hate it so much. Okay. First off, First Order, what is this? What
turning
the
out
heck?
brilliantly. I love it.
I'm going to try not to swear.
Just have throw random swears in there for fun anyway.
Oh my gosh.
But who is the First Order and why did they happen?
First, like what? Okay, so
just
we
not
get to
yours.
episode. No, Nathan, this is mine, not yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so end of episode 6. The rebels have beaten the Empire, and Luke returns his dad to the good side, and everything's great. And
He's
then they
starting a
go
new
la la
Jedi
la
Order.
la 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 la. Oh wait, no, that's the first
It
one.
is, no. Or,
Anyway.
no, it changed it in the remakes, whatever.
Everyone's super happy. They're done. And Luke is allegedly supposed to, reinstitute the Jedi Order, and train new Jedi and
And be a well-written character.
be a well-written character. And then it was, oh, it's the First Order. You guys are the Resistance, even though you're in power. It's like, wait, what? What happened to the Empire? What happened to the Rebels? What happened to the New Republic? But where'd they go? And I guess there is a New Republic, but apparently the New Republic who's in power isn't actually in power, and the
They just
people,
kind of suck.
the remnants of the faction that got destroyed, and the Emperor was thrown down a flippin' mine shaft or whatever. Not
It's
mine
reactor.
shaft. Reactor
Reactor shaft.
shaft.
Because, radiation is just a suggestion.
Of course you have a reactor shaft in your throne room. What are you talking about?
and anyway, so
Think about it.
oh man, okay. So why is it that the remnants of the Empire become this super duper, even more powerful, even though they were just defeated utterly, become this First Order with, we got an even bigger Death Star that shoots 5 planets instead of 1.
It's because we need an antagonist.
Because in the canon up until that point, there were little scattered pieces of the Empire. Like individual commanders kind of went off and did their own little thing, but
This little pocket
scattered,
became
disorganized, somehow became uber powerful and controlling the galaxy.
And
Snoke.
then because rebel/resistance automatically means good guy now these days.
See, yeah, why is the
Why
resistance?
is the new republic who's in power called the Resistance?
Well, it's not. They're not getting help from the Republic, though. They're
Wouldn't-
just the Resistance because I don't know.
Wouldn't the First Order be the Resistance since they're not in power technically, even though
should
they're
be.
more powerful?
We can't call it the rebellion. You have to just do a slight rebrand.
Like they did with the Separatists.
The Resistance!
They were la Resistance. Nobody's French though.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Pardon my French, but
And don't... Oh, man. Well, this is what
get
it's
you
for.
started.
Okay, get me started on Poe. Gosh. Or what's his name? No,
Finn.
Finn, not Poe.
Poe is a Miss Potential
Poe and-
nothing burger of a character.
Poe and Finn are the gay lovers. I mean, I'm
They're not.
anyway. Sorry.
Okay.
It's
Finn
hinted,
could
it's
have
hinted.
been interesting.
Anyway.
But he wasn't.
A stormtrooper who changes his ways could have been an interesting story, but then halfway through the second movie, they're like, okay, nothing interesting happens to him.
Yeah, well, I didn't really like his character in the first place because he's just. They always have to make the main, especially if he's a dude, they got to make him a goofball. He's just a goofball, and he's super annoying. He doesn't do anything right, and he's like, oh, I was the cleaning guy with a gun on the Death Star or whatever. I don't know.
No, Starkiller Base because
On
we have to
Starkiller
pay homage
Base.
to the original name of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And anyway, so then, and then that brings me to the second movie where they introduce what's her face,
Rose was like the character.
Oh,
Is-
I thought Holdo.
Finn, even worse, but female. Just when
that
I
makes
first
you
saw her,
sexist for not
I
liking
thought, okay, who is this Rose girl? And she seems like someone who won a get to be in the next Star Wars movie if you write the best fan essay about Star Wars.
The most important thing about her is that her sister died in a tactically stupid bombing run.
The only important thing she ever did was ruin Poe's character arc.
Yep.
I mean, it was ruined in my opinion from the beginning.
Why have a self-sacrifice when you can smooch for no reason?
I know.
And then not
he's
smooch for the
about
entire
to-
next movie.
He's about to save everybody.
I would have respected that movie way
and
more
rid
if they
us
let-
of his stupid character at the same time. And then Rose goes, I'm going to stop you from saving the day. Boom. Oh, why'd you do that? Because I love you.
Because
then
nobody
at
saw that
point,
coming.
I'm like, just turn off the movie now. I'm in the theaters. Just turn it off now. This is
be like
you
in
just
Hot
ruined
Rod where you just
everything.
run up into the-
Why couldn't you have
into the
both
booth.
died in that crash?
But we
I would have
needed
respected the movie slightly more if they just followed through and had Finn sacrifice himself and actually die and have consequences in the movie. You know?
That would have made me at least somewhat happy about the movie.
like that coupled with Luke Skywalker dying for some reason at the end was just like, but why did he die?
because
Why did he die?
Because he's a well-written character.
If Mark Hamill hates if Mark Hamill hates the movie, you know something is wrong with the movie.
Oh yeah, listen to anything Mark Hamill says about it. He's like, I just did it for the money. This is terrible. This is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But they pay really, really good.
they
They paid him to get his name on
But-
the poster for
but
the first movie.
BB-8
But he was
and-
only in the last 30 seconds of the first movie.
BB-8 and Porgs.
Porgs. Oh man.
I mean, they're not. I don't think they're the problem.
No.
They're acceptable. They're the Ewoks of this movie. It's
Okay.
fine.
Next, just okay.
But
I
Puppet
read
Yoda.
I read some fan books or whatever, the Young Jedi Knight series.
Yep.
And I thought that was a really good way to sequelize the original trilogy where Han and Leia have kids and they go off and become Jedi with their uncle Luke, and it's pretty fun and they have some adventures. But instead, Luke's school goes haywire and then Luke's just like, I give up. Ooh, and then Han and Leia do have a son who goes to try to be a Jedi, but then he's
it's-
just an emo guy who's like, Grandpa, I will follow your legacy even though you became a good guy at the end. And
Did nobody tell him?
Did no one tell him he was a good guy?
Snoke is literally meaningless as a character.
That too. Frickin' Snoke. Who the heck? Who are you?
It's like, oh, look at this big twist I'm putting here. I'm Ryan Johnson.
And then he kills him, and he's like, okay.
Now what?
But who was he?
And why?
And why was he? And what?
And then that left J.J. Abrams to make up something wholesale to empathing explain away in the third.
It's like he was like, what the heck do I do about episode 9 while watching Avengers Endgame in theaters? And then he basically just rewrote Avengers Endgame to be less interesting and Star Wars.
Okay.
This isn't a trilogy.
Hang on.
This is an argument between two directors about what
I only
Star
have a
Wars
minute
is.
30 left. This is still my rant. Okay, now movie 3. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the part where they're on the dark planet with all the dark
Exegol
people.
or whatever.
They're like,
Oreo.
oh, we're here. And, oh, the big bad guy was Palpatine the whole time. He's still alive, guys.
Look
wow.
at all these Star Destroyers out of nowhere.
Look at we made all these Star Destroyers and recruited
They're
all
all Death Stars. All the Star Destroyers are Death Stars.
and we recruited all the people to willingly crew all these Death Stars somehow, even though, like, what? How many?
It makes sense, okay?
What?
It's a well-written character.
And then there's all like, what, aren't they like in some sort of arena or something? There's a bunch of like
Strike me down.
There's all these dark
There's like a
Sith
Sith
dudes
ritual thing
watching.
Oh, Force dyads exist. You guys are one. Ben's good now. Yeah. And he kisses you, and he dies.
Because that was tonally appropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Also, we haven't even touched on the Force, how Rey is.
yeah, Force healing. She gets to grab
Now,
lightsabers from the past
To
and
be fair,
from
some of
spirit
those things
people.
existed in expanded universe,
Well,
but they didn't take any time
if
to like explain
George-
them or introduce them in the.
She can do this now because she's special.
Well, why is she special?
Do you want 5 more minutes?
No, I think I'm good. Zero.
The thing is, we were
Right,
all
time's
familiar
up.
with what went on there. We didn't need the
I
extra 5
know.
minutes for exposition purposes.
Yes. Be all end all. 10 out of 10. Watch the movies. Hate them with me. You could do the Hobbit trilogy if you haven't thought of it.
We did a whole episode about that.
Right, but did you rant about it?
No, we compared how the movies failed versus the book.
Okay.
That's
That
what
was my second choice if I didn't
also
rant about
mentioned
Star Wars.
I also mentioned how the old cartoon kind of got it a little bit better.
Yeah.
In some ways.
In some ways. I watched it recently, actually, and it leaves a lot out. It's
It
just
does,
like,
it
it
does.
just skips a
We're
lot.
not talking
But,
about that.
Hey, at least it doesn't add some stupid forbidden love thing between an elf
You've
and a
had your
dwarf who
rant,
never
shut up.
had anything. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Well, you got extra 5 minutes.
I did, but you're ranting
You
about
got-
something else entirely. I had to finish my rant. I wasn't
Yeah,
done.
well, you weren't even ranting, so you were
The
I was
only
explaining.
explaining.
But
gosh,
it was.
what am I gonna? Let's see.
Can you rant for 10 minutes about something?
Pause now.
Actually, no. I think I got this. Okay, I'm gonna hit the thing.
All right, ready to go.
Olympus Has Fallen is one of the dumbest movies I have ever watched.
Never seen it.
I have one.
Don't.
Okay,
It's bad.
does that have Mel Gibson in it?
No,
not
it's
Mel-
got it's got what's his face from 300.
God.
Garrett Brett. No.
He plays God in
Did it have Denzel Washington?
Bruce Almighty.
No, that's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
and yes,
Morgan
he's in
Freeman's
it.
in it.
Yes, he's in it. But what I say? The guy from it's got the guy from 300 in it. Morgan Freeman is not in 300.
Yes, he is.
No,
he's
he's
the
not.
one who goes, "This is Sparta."
No. What's his what's his name?
Um,
Anyway, so this dude.
John Cleese.
No, it's my rant. Damn it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Olympus Has
Aaron
Fallen.
Eckhart.
Aaron. No, that's the president.
Oh.
Like the main character guy.
I just looked up the Wikipedia.
He's got
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler. There we go.
That's
okay.
the guy.
So Gerard Butler, movie opens. He's like, working in the Secret Service. He's the head guy. And the president's at Camp David during a snowstorm. He's like, okay, we got to go to this thing. And then the presidential limo goes off of this bridge, and the first lady dies, but everybody else lives, and it's kind of a whole thing. And because of the situation, like Gerard Butler is like, okay, I can't be on the Secret Service anymore because I feel like I failed, even though it was a complete accident. That's not even the dumb part. Okay. All right. So vague conflict with North Korea, as is, the way of America do. And one day, the president's at the White House and is like, oh, the ambassador or the South Korean president is here. Cool. He's visiting, talking about, North Korea sucks. And this AC-130, which to those who don't know is
a plane.
It's a plane with a bunch of freaking guns on it.
Oh.
Takes off from this airfield and starts making a beeline for the White House.
You mean a plane line?
No. And, okay, there are multiple things off the bat that just are stupid. All right, first of all,
no one flies a plane.
I'm going to nerd out about military stuff for a little bit because it's
Go
the
ahead,
SALTCast.
man, it's your thing.
Okay, so these are details I care about. So this thing is basically... So if anybody's ever played like Call of Duty 4, the very first Modern Warfare game, there's a little mission where you fly around in one of these things and you can switch from like the big cannon, a medium cannon, and a Gatling gun to dumb it down a little bit. This thing's just got a couple Gatling guns at it that don't move, and like they just point straight out. Okay, all right. Here's where we have problems. So what happens in restricted airspace, such as Washington, D.C. and the National Mall, is they scramble fighter jets when a plane violates that airspace. So what would ordinarily be done is they would go a little bit off the wing and like above and behind the plane and try to come forward slowly, try to get their attention, try to get them to change course. So this thing is in U.S. Army markings. Obviously, it's been hijacked. They should just shoot the dang thing down to begin with if it's not responding. So it turns out, these little North Korean... Okay, I don't want to sound racist, but these North Korean guys are on board. They've hijacked this plane, and so they just shoot... Okay, with these immobile Gatling guns, these two fighter pilots who are guarding the airspace of the national capital fly at just the right spot where they can both be shot down by these fixed machine guns that pop out. And they're just like, oh no, we only have two fighter jets to protect the capital of the United States. Anyway, so this thing starts flying around Washington, D.C. unopposed. It just starts mowing down people in the streets. It's a bloodbath. It's a distraction. Emergency services are everywhere. And then a bunch of these, the movie's kind of racist. These Asian tourists don't have cameras in their bags. Well, they do at first. They pull out machine guns and just start mowing down the Secret Service like nothing.
Easy.
And there's like this concrete truck or this garbage truck that has a machine gun in it. Ooh boy, machine gun. And so all the Secret Service people start running out one by one and just keep getting mowed down by this thing like they've never done any sort of tactical training in their lives.
Sounds like a perfectly laid plan.
Yeah. See, like, you know what would definitely happen? Like they would just run straight into machine gun fire. That would totally happen. And the snipers got shot off the roof. Okay, it comes up later in the movie that there's like this secret like anti-air weapon sitting in the basement of the White House.
Oh.
Guess what they didn't pull out to shoot the damn AC-130 out of the sky at the beginning of the movie. Oh, this extra special weapon. Okay, anyway. So the Secret Service are apparently complete idiots. Like all 100, 200 of them or something just get mowed down by like 15 North Korean dudes, right? Have you seen pictures of North Korea?
No.
It's like, imagine getting frozen in the 1950s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen like the picture of like on a map of North Korea.
Right, but it's just like, okay, they're not capable of anything remotely like this. Another stupid thing. They just completely ignore protocols in general, all right? So, I bumped the mic. The president is like, okay, we're under attack, sir. We got to get you into the bunker. It's like, okay, but the South Korean president's guy's coming with. That's not protocol, sir. Just bring him with. No. In an emergency situation, the Secret Service does what they do to protect the president. They don't, like, the president doesn't just, like, give orders and they have to listen to him. That's not how it works. Also, they bring everybody with. They bring, like, the vice president and, like, all these staff people with them. And the North Korean ambassador and his staff with them. Turns out, the South Korean president with them. Turns out one of the security detail is actually the secret agent for the North Korean government. So he kills the two Secret Service agents in the bunker
Oh my
and
god.
like takes everyone hostage. Oh no, the president has been taken hostage. All the Secret Service are dead, and only Gerard Butler can sneak into the White House and save the day. And they do this all in time before the army can respond and get to the White House. And there's this huge long standoff, and Gerard Butler has to save the day. So a lot of dumb has to be tolerated for this movie to happen. Like, at least in London Has Fallen, which is the sequel, is somewhat plausible because you have like this double agent in the British like Secret Service and like MI5 or whatever that like betrays all these national leaders, and it's somewhat more plausible. But just like, okay, imagine if everybody in the United States Armed Forces and Secret Service sucked at their jobs to the point where it's comically bad.
It sounds like they wanted Die Hard in the White House, but then worked backward from there to justify it.
Yeah. It's actually a similar problem I have to Air Force One, where it's just like, imagine if the security team for the president sucked.
But Harrison Ford.
Right. This
Harrison
doesn't
Ford?
even have Harrison Ford.
It's irredeemable.
It's
just
just,
has
it just has
irredeemable.
Two-Face with one
But
face.
at least Star Wars had Harrison Ford
But yeah,
for
Like
one movie.
one movie.
I
he
like
said,
the
"I'm too old
suspension
for
of
this."
disbelief necessary for this movie is like annoying and irritating to me because
Particularly if you're a stickler for details and
yes,
military stuff like that.
yes, absolutely. So
And it's the sort of thing where it's like, sure, you shouldn't need to understand or be a nerd about military protocol, but also if you know it, you shouldn't.
everything's just wildly incompetent. Like, there's like this anti-aircraft system that the North Koreans hijacked, like I mentioned earlier, which the president didn't use to protect the White House because apparently a couple of anti-aircraft missiles, oops, they have flares. Imagine an airplane in like 20, whatever it is, having flares. It's not like those have existed since 1940s. Anyway, to deter like heat-seeking missiles and stuff. So like, okay, well, I guess we're only going to shoot 2 anti-aircraft missiles and not bring out this totally specified thing. So when the Navy SEALs come to break into the White House, oops, they all got shot down. We didn't know about this thing sitting in the White House that we totally should have and just sent people in blindly to die.
Why do you have missiles in the White House in the first place?
Well, to protect the White House. Like, I'm sure there's defense systems in the White House, but imagine if everything sucked and we just wanted to. Okay, the action's kind of fun, but I watched this movie twice for some reason. And the second time I was like, maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember. And the whole time I was just fuming, like, no, this is exactly how I remember it. This sucks.
I watched it once. It must have been late. It was just I turned my brain off and watched the guns go.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But now that you mention, it's like, oh yeah, that's dumb.
There's just a lot of stupid. So much stupid.
Watch those guns. They're going pew 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 pew.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't think I'd have 10 minutes, but
There you go. You had about 10 minutes
It
worth of
is
rant
10
about-
minutes.
Olympus Has Fallen is stupid. Very stupid.
Go watch it.
I hate it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 awful sauce.
Yeah, like I need to like cleanse my mental palate and go watch Black Hawk Down or something to wipe it out of my memory.
You
That's a
can
good
go
war
watch the
movie.
new Top Gun again.
I could do
one's
that.
a good one.
Maverick. I have not seen Maverick.
It's good.
But yeah, there's my timer. So yeah, actually, that's something we should talk about on the podcast. Maybe I'll have to put that on the list.
I'll have to watch it at some point. But sure.
It's so good.
I have to put
It's even
I've
better than the
heard.
first one.
Black Hawk Down on our list. I think that would be worth talking about.
So, what is good in all our rants?
We had to let it out.
We're processing it.
we already did all the truth.
The truth is that it sucks, and you should never engage with these. 10 out of 10.
It shows us what a movie should not be.
Or
Black Hawk Down.
it's like there, in all 3 of these examples, there is so much like
Incompetent storytelling.
Yeah, it's like they had a thing they wanted to do. They had like a couple ideas, and then built everything around it to justify it.
Yeah.
It's like you work, which to be fair, there are some great movies that are built like that,
Like-
but they use competent logic to get to those points.
Like what if somebody was pitching a movie like, okay, what if the White House got taken over by terrorists? That would never happen. Right, but what if it did? That would never happen. Right, but what if it did? Shut up.
Right. We're like,
Okay, I've said this about a lot of things, but like whether it comes to advertisements or movies or whatever creative media, there needs to be that person in the room who can say without backlash and like has authority to just like, no, that's stupid.
And
We're
that's-
not doing it. Somebody in every boardroom has to be that person.
The no guy?
No, that's dumb. Get out.
and
The
that's
guy
actually-
who throws the other guy the third guy out of the window.
Yeah.
And that's actually the thing that happened with Other M, where the director, Yoshio Sakamoto, who had been with the series since like Super Metroid, so it was like, hey, he should know his stuff. He was like, I have full creative control. I don't like that she hasn't been able to talk because then people can read between the lines.
What the heck is a silent protagonist?
What?
That
But
sounds
here's
silly.
the thing: if you read between the lines, you might misunderstand her character as being interesting or
So
well
she
written.
has to dictate every aspect of her character to you, or else how could we possibly know?
We need
Tell,
to,
don't show. That's what they always say.
yes, we need to tell her about her mommy issues with the Metroid and her daddy issues with Adam, and ignore all the rest of her backstory, but only except
People
for when
can't
it's
make
relevant.
inferences. That's crazy talk.
But I also feel like the opposite thing happened with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where it's like J.J. Abrams had his direction,
We
and
can't-
Ryan Johnson had his direction, and they could not agree.
We can't
like-
tell a new story with Star Wars. How would we get people to watch it?
You just tell the old story over again. No, we say everything that was good about the old stories was actually bad and subvert their expectations. And but no, they want they want the Emperor to come back, and they want all these classic things: Star Destroyers, blowing up planets. It was an argument about what Star Wars actually is between two directors, and neither of them get it.
And nobody asked for it.
Exactly.
Uh,
Okay,
You have
there-
your
there was a-
fans of the sequel trilogy, and I say to them, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but that's like enjoying eating like eggplant.
my mom enjoys making eggplants.
She's not listening to this.
No.
Okay.
Well, I have one more thing to say about Star Wars.
Go ahead.
The second movie where they're at that dumb
Casino planet?
casino place. They're like, but the animals, they gotta save the
weird dog
animals.
horses?
We gotta save the
They
animals.
gave the puppy eyes.
But
Oh
they're-
no, that's relevant. Hey, everybody's slowly getting shot to death by like on our ship back
on the
like,
world's slowest spaceship chase.
Yes, like the whole movie. I was like, oh, this is an interesting way to start off the movie, and
Oh,
like the
that's
whole
the
thing,
entire movie.
The entire movie is just slowly, boom, they're too far away. Boom, we're gonna die when our fuel runs out. Boom, go get fuel. Okay, we're gonna do this daring plan, and then Holdo's just like, I'm gonna make you think I'm evil for 10 minutes for no reason.
You know that
Because the boys in this movie are dumb, right, Leia?
you know George Lucas invented Star Wars because he saw 2001: A Space Odyssey. He said that's cool but slow. What if the ships went fast?
Yep.
And then they decided in Episode 8, hey, what if the ships went really, really slow? But like, because all the escape pods and other ships coming and going from them are going very fast and can get through this one very slow chase sequence without getting shot down.
One of the tragedies of the sequel trilogy is like the design and like visual effects and like the soundtrack and like all the creative energy and work that went into making the movies, like going to practical effects, having Puppet Yoda, all that stuff, was wasted on this terrible idea.
Honestly, the soundtrack
Because
was
it's visually stunning. Like there's all,
Oh yeah,
I mean, like this shot where like,
hyperspace into the Star Destroyer. That's kind of cool looking.
yep,
Yeah, and seeing
And
real.
Holdo died. That was great. I like that scene.
yeah,
Pink hair girl bus.
joins
Died.
the dinosaurs she loves so much.
Pink
Yeah, it
hair
was-
girl boss. I thought the
Oh, and
fight.
then don't forget Mary Poppins, Princess Leia.
Yeah, because that's totally not insensitive after the actual actor died.
I think, well,
before
this
the release
the
of
second,
the movie.
the second, like in
During,
episode
like-
8, like didn't she die after that?
During post production, I think she was
Okay.
dead by the time it came out in theaters. So
Okay.
it's like,
Yep.
oh, she survives the events of this movie. That's awkward.
Yeah, that I remember that feeling a little jarring. Like I could understand from like a movie production standpoint why they couldn't just like about face and change that.
But,
But-
also a little insensitive, I think. Of course,
Yeah.
again, it would have also been insensitive.
They blew a chance to have Han, Leia, and Luke all together.
They blew a chance.
They blew.
They.
Mm.
Okay. Well, there it was.
Was everybody feel catharted?
I thought I had one more, but I can't remember. So.
That was. We did a SALTCast. We get
Yeah.
to use that bumper. That's my favorite bumper.
Roll the bumper.
Do it. Yeah, play it again just for fun because we've never done this before.
Yes. You get
Double bumpers.
double the bumpers. in
Play
this
it
episode.
again.
Play it again, Sam.
So I hope you liked it. We did a lot of yelling.
Or didn't like
Oh,
it.
we turned off.
We got pretty fired up.
It's a ranch. It's a SALTCast.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I hope this was cathartic for you as well. Whether you had strong feelings about Metroid Other M
Or the sequel trilogy, or
Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah.
Should this be the format for SALTCast? We find couple things to rant about and then
Yeah.
take turns.
I think that worked out where
'Cause
we had like the little timer going for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's hard to rant for a full episode length. It turns out.
Yeah.
We should try the timer things for synopses on our
Yeah.
on our regular episodes.
Make a note of that.
Yeah, there we go.
Make a note.
Speaking of notes, anything anybody else has to add before we wrap things up?
Weird spot to bring it up, but if you're listening, hi Noah.
Oh, hello.
My mom has been listening to the episode.
Sorry we're yelling. You're probably trying to go to
we
bed.
yelled a lot in this one. There may have been. Don't repeat those.
We tried.
we were careful-ish.
Yeah.
James did it the most, actually.
Well, yeah.
Tell it him.
I'll need to do a little post on
If
this.
they want to keep up with future SALTcasts, where can they find us?
If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine.
My kids are not going to watch Disney Star Wars.
Cool beans. Well, thanks for listening to the Palladian Papists. You can listen to us on Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Please leave a rating to let us know what you think of the show, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Papists. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, or suggestions for future episodes, email us at palladianpapists@gmail.com. And we will talk to you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.